I used to be really good friends with this guy named Alex back in middle school, but he moved away to some rural town. Luckily for New Year's of my freshman year, we were invited to go see him on his 100-acre property. His parents invited a bunch of other people for the New Year's party, and me, Alex, and his 3 friends from his new school, Jared, Kevin, and Rahul, were getting kinda bored. Alex suggested that we go light fireworks in some abandoned house that wasn't on his property, but the person who owned it lived miles away from it. He said there was a hole in his roof that we could shoot fireworks out of. I knew it was an extremely stupid idea. We could have definitely burned down the house and seriously injured others, but hey, we were freshman dumbasses partying for New Year's, so why not? We arrived at the house and climbed up the attic. Like I said, this was a stupid idea, and what made it even more stupid was how dangerous it was to be walking in the house. Every floorboard creaked like a dying rodent, and the whole thing felt like it would collapse at any moment. We chilled in the attic for a while and then watched a live stream of the ball drop on Rahul's phone. Once it was officially New Year's, we set off fireworks. Luckily, nothing dangerous happened, and afterwards we relaxed and joked about the New Year's resolution, saying stupid stuff like we would masturbate less and other things that we found funny. Just then we heard loud simultaneous creaks coming from the floor below us. We all froze and remained silent, hearing some shuffling sound. Then all was quiet. Jared instantly wanted to check it out, and the rest of us instantly wanted to get the hell out of there. Alex said it could be the guy who owns the property, who's most likely a redneck in possession of a shotgun, so we decided to leave. Jared really wanted to check it out. He's one of those guys who's really into scary shit and wants something like this to happen to him. So he just decided to force Kevin to go with him, and Alex, Rahul, and I would wait outside. As we were waiting outside, it began to get really cold, and Jared and Kevin were taking a really long time. I was scanning the dusty windows of the house when I saw someone standing at one that was below the attic. It was too dark and grimy to see if the person was either Jared or Kevin, but Alex began yelling at them to hurry up. The person was just standing there though. I declared that it was probably Jared or Kevin pulling some bullshit, so I said to go get them to come out. Rahul said he'd come with me. We both walked back into the house and turned on our phone flashlights and started heading upstairs. Just then, I heard some whispering from the darkness of a room next to the staircase. It was Kevin. He told us to come into the room with him, and we obeyed. We came in and asked him and Jared what was wrong. They said to be quiet and that there was someone else in the house. I asked them who had been standing at the window, and they said they didn't know what I was talking about. I, for some reason, brought up the idea of seeing who it was, secretly suspecting that Jared and Kevin were still bullshitting. We walked up to the room where we had seen the guy and found a mannequin placed in the window. It was wearing a wig and had makeup all over its face. Kevin started taking pictures of it as Rahul started freaking out and wanted to leave. Just then Jared said, "What the is that?" And we all turned to him. He pointed forward, and in the darkness we could barely see someone's head poking out of the closet. I shone my light on it. It was some old-ass guy wearing a wig and makeup similar to the mannequins. He began crawling towards us. Instantly, Rahul, who was at the back, began screaming and took off. I shoved Kevin off the mannequin and he stumbled, but I brought him to his feet as we booked it out of the room and down the stairs. I could hear the man falling close behind me, but he stopped as we burst out of the house. I shouted for Alex to follow us, and he did as we all ran back over his property to Alex's house. We slipped back into the party and acted like nothing happened. This was a few weeks ago, and I haven't spoken to Alex or any of his friends about it since. I guess we all just tried to forget about it.
This story takes place back when I was 18, walking home with my 2 friends Rohan and RJ after a New Year's party. We didn't have money, so we couldn't call a cab, and I didn't want to be a dick and wake our parents at 3 a.m. to drive us, so I eventually convinced Rohan and RJ to walk with me. We live in the suburbs of Los Angeles, so admittedly it is kind of dangerous to be walking home at night, but I always kept pepper spray with me. After a few minutes of walking, we went our separate ways to continue walking home. I was about 5 blocks away from home when I noticed a guy walking across the street behind me in a raincoat and tattered jeans with the hood up. I don't think much of it and continue walking. Later I become aware the man has crossed the street and is now behind me. I begin to speed up, so does he. I slow down, so does he. At this point I'm getting a little freaked out and start reaching for my pepper spray in my pocket and grasp it, ready to whip it out and spray the douchebag. He begins to walk faster than my pace, and I can hear him breathing as he starts sprinting up behind me. Instantly, I took off across the street and take a shortcut through some alleyways, turning behind buildings until I lost him. I waited a couple of minutes and then returned home safely. I got inside and locked the door, setting my purse on the couch and heading upstairs to take a shower. I was slightly buzzed and felt kind of dizzy, so I took a quick shower and collapsed into bed naked since the AC was broken anyways. I woke the next morning with a slight hangover, so I dragged myself into some clothes and went downstairs to fix breakfast. It was freezing cold downstairs, which was kind of odd. Even more odd, my cereal was missing. I knew I had 3 fresh boxes in the cabinet that I purchased before New Year's. I sat on the couch and just decided to relax a little when I heard something fall over in the garage. Assuming it was mice, I grabbed a bottle of peppermint oil and went into the garage. However, I didn't see anything. A broom by the old fridge was knocked over, so I began leaning it back up. That's when I spotted the fridge door being slightly cracked open and an eye staring at me from inside. I pretended I didn't see it and left the garage, grabbing my phone and locking myself in the bathroom to call the cops. They told me they'd be there shortly. While I was waiting, I heard the creaky-ass garage door open slowly. Then the doorknob to the bathroom, it slowly began to turn before being stopped by the lock. Once again, I did nothing and I heard the garage door open and shut again. Once the police knocked on the door, I quietly led them to the garage and pointed at the fridge. They flung open the door to reveal a guy wearing old jeans and a hoodie. It was the guy who was following me on New Year's. Apparently he had broken into my house through a window downstairs and was planning to stay hidden and rob.
New Year's Eve, 2016. I was at my friend Audit's party and it was kind of awkward because I basically didn't know that much people there. In between trips to the beer, I kept noticing one guy sitting in a rocking chair by Audit's front door. It was strange because he looked about 30 and most people at the party were 20, and the entire time he just sat there unmoving. At one point I walked past him and he tried to start a conversation with me. He seemed fidgety and kind of off-putting. He had really pale skin and spoke with a lisp and had a lazy eyelid. He asked me if I was enjoying the party. I said yes. He then said I had a nice watch and started talking about how beautiful I was. Admittedly, I was pretty drunk at that point, so I didn't find it any bit alarming. Anyway, around 4 a.m., the partygoers began leaving. A bunch of heavily intoxicated people were crashing at Audit's house, and I was one of those people. I chose a couch in his living room to sleep on, and he would sleep on the couch across from me. I was beginning to sober up and asked him about the guy with the lisp sitting by the front door. Audit said he didn't know anyone of that description and didn't see the guy during the party either. I was unnerved by this, but he brushed it off and told me not to worry about it. I couldn't sleep. I was really hot for some reason, even in my underwear. So I decided to just sit there and browse social media on my phone. I was reading some Reddit post when for a split second I saw someone shuffle down the hallway that is visible from the living room that leads from the front door to the staircase. I then saw him reappear in front of the fridge and grab a beer. I saw black hair and white skin, so I thought it was our friend Kyle, and I could go for a beer and someone to talk to, so I got up and began walking towards the kitchen. Kyle closed the fridge, and the fridge light went out, swallowing the kitchen with darkness again. I called out Kyle's name and froze as I heard a switchblade flick open. "Give me your watch," said a familiar voice with a lisp. I slowly turned to face a slender silhouette in front of me. I didn't even have to see his face to know who it was. I told him to take it easy and slowly removed my watch, handing it over. He then asked for my wallet. I said it was on the living room table and he told me to go get it and bring it to him. I obediently went to the living room. As I did this, I inconspicuously bumped into Audit to wake him up. I dug around in Audit's drawer to quickly find some sort of blunt object to defend myself with. I snatched a pair of scissors and then stuffed them in my back pocket. When I got back to the kitchen, I handed my wallet to the guy. Then I saw him slowly lower the pistol. "Take off your shirt," he commanded, approaching me with his arms outstretched. I didn't think. I swung my arm and stabbed him in the chest with the scissors. Blood squirted in different directions as he screamed and collapsed. Audit instantly burst into the room and I yelled for him to call the cops. 4 more groggy partygoers arrived on the scene, some still drunk, to see what the commotion was. Audit hung up on the police and asked me to explain what the hell was happening, so I told him. Soon a few cop cars and an ambulance arrived and they took the guy away on the stretcher. With blood pooling in his mouth, he told me Happy New Year as they took him away. He was arrested and I later found he had been on the run from the cops and had unknowingly entered Audit's party as cover.